Hello, this is the Dell Inspiron 5100 that was dropped. I don't know if this damage to the corner was achieved when it was dropped, but the customer said his son dropped the laptop, it worked fine, but then later it started making noise from the fan. So I haven't heard this yet, but I'm going to turn it on now and see what it sounds like. Well, it's installing Windows updates, so I'll be back when it's making noise. The sound has begun. It just suddenly started. It's definitely from the CPU fan. Alright, well, I'm shutting it down to prevent damage, and I'll open it up in a minute. That screw was loose. That screw's missing. Yep. That screw was missing. To see if I have a replacement for that missing screw. So it's one of these. I think mine is a little bit shorter. It's the longest one that I have. I'm just going to see if it actually does anything here. Yeah, it gets about one turn. So better than nothing, I suppose. Okay, so just lifting on the edge of the case, I can see that it wants to separate here. So it's a bottom cover that'll come off. I think that'll come. Yeah. So the computer is mounted to the top case, or the top plate, or the palm rest, whatever you call it. So I'm going to try to separate this bottom cover from that. I hope there's not any screws holding it in from the top. I'm going to check. Yeah, I bet there is. So this has a keyboard that pops out with some clips. This has those little clips that you push in. Okay, I see. So push that in and it pops up. Yeah, there we go. So now push that in and that pops up. Push that in and that pops up. That's neat. So then there's a long ribbon cable, which is always nice. Flick that up, and now that's out. And there are a number of screws behind here. Alright, I don't see any more screws. Yeah, no, that was good. I don't think we broke any clips or anything, so pleased with that. Now, whoa, okay. So this hinge is completely popped. Normally, so one of the case screws goes through the hinge, and then there's another screw here, and then another screw here. But this hinge is not attached to anything, and that screw is missing. I suspect it could be inside the fan. Yeah, that's not good. This metal insert should be mounted inside this plastic. I'm gonna take this into the back room and blow some compressed air through it. Okay, so that fan looks a lot better. Now that I've cleaned out the fan, I'm going to turn it on to see if it still makes noise. Yeah, this fan definitely needs to be replaced, so I'm just going to shut down and contact the customer about the issues. So I'm just trying to hold this one good hinge in place to prevent any damage to that one. Okay, I'm going to phone the customer and see what he wants to do. I'll be back. I've ordered a new fan. I'm not sure when it will arrive, sometime this week. But in the meantime, I'm going to repair this hinge. So let's get started with that. So that fits in there quite nicely. So this should only require a little bit of glue. I want to see if I can tell whether this has any cracks developing or other problems. No, I think it looks all right. So I'm just going to try some super glue. I've got an old packet here. I'm going to try to get this to open up. Strong stuff. Is there any left in here? It feels like there is. The tip is damaged beyond repair. So the trick here is going to be getting some out without gluing anything to my desk. So air bubble in there. There we go. Okay, that's pretty much flush, and it's very straight, so I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to let this cure for a long time, really. There's no rush, so I'm just going to set this aside and clean up my mess. So there's actually damage to the copper pad on this motherboard where that screw is missing. I'm not sure that it was missing. I'm a little bit confused by what I'm seeing here. So it definitely doesn't come through the bottom. Oh, but is there a screw boss? Ah, there is. On the underside of this, there is a screw boss here. So that screw wasn't missing at all. This is a screw that comes down through the top from underneath the keyboard. It'll come up this direction through this hinge and into the bottom. So it'll come through the hinge here and then into this threaded insert here. So that screw wasn't missing and it's present, so that's good. And my screw repair here seems like it's okay. Let's have another look. Yeah. So I'm going to put this back together and see how we get on. I'm going to put the old fan back in place just until the new one arrives. I'm putting this together like this mostly to keep track of all the screws, because I have another job, I have other work that needs to be done on this workbench, and I want all these screws to remain in the right place. So I'm just going to put everything back together the way it was. So this screw here is the one that I thought was a missing screw. It just passes through that hinge into the bottom case. Just going to turn it on to make sure that everything is working normally. So the keyboard works, trackpad works. I'd say we're fine. Display works, battery works. I'm just going to shut down and wait for the new fan to arrive. Okay, so the replacement fan has arrived for this computer. It looks right as far as I can remember. In case you're curious, this is where I'm putting the screws on my little magnetic holder in exactly the order they came out, because a few of them are different than the others. So it looks like the hinge repair that we did here looks to be holding up. I mean, it's a pretty weak design. This hinge just doesn't hold on to much. Once you have the bottom case taken out and the keyboard taken out, there's really only one screw holding that in. So it's a weak design. But the fan's on and it's quiet. All right, the keyboard works, the trackpad works, it charges, the USB works. I'm going to call that a success. Thanks for watching.